new problems, new dangers.
I think I'm a smart guy.
So you want me to talk about community? I think in the end, what makes people stick together is the experience, is the fact that they share something in common, something meaningful. They share a set of values, and they share the willingness to change the world in their own way. And I guess this is what we're trying to do with WeShare.
Neil Gornflow with Shareable.net. Our mission is to empower everyone to share for a more joyous, resilient, and equitable world. And at the center of our way of seeing the world is our people and communities. And while you're participating in a kind of hackathon for the collaborative economies, I think it's really important as you design your solutions to put people and their relationships to one another at the center of what you're doing, not only in terms of how the service works, but also how the service is owned and governed, which I believe will increasingly be a kind of competitive requirement, not only to compete effectively with other platforms, but to gain the trust and the participation required for these kinds of peer-to-peer applications to work.
Hello, this is Javi Creus. I'm the founder of Ideas for Change, a Barcelona-based think tank which studies how open and collaborative social organizations are changing society and economy and business models all over the world. The first thing I would like to say is I believe that sharing has become a new common sense, that we're all aware that by using technology to connect things and using citizen producers' capacities, our own capacities to do things by our own and among us, new combinations that produce much more value than old combinations, than the old industry, can be created almost in all aspects of our economical activity.
Hi, my name is Evan Abel. I'm a co-founder of Frank, which is a peer-to-peer lending platform. My mother actually grew up on what's called a moshav in Israel, and it's essentially a community where certain things are shared. For them in particular, they shared agricultural equipment. So each family had their own plot of land, their own cattle, their own food crops. They were responsible and owned those things that came from it, but they were able to, as a community, share certain pieces of equipment. So it helped them grow and prosper much more quickly than if it was a purely competitive environment. I think a big shift for me was thinking of public libraries as a place where everyone can share books, and thinking about how that switched into Wikipedia, where people peer-to-peer shared information with each other. This is obviously transcended and is a growing movement. Again, Frank is a way that people actually lend money and borrow money from their friends and family directly. So moving away from banks as institutions, moving away from even things like SoFi and Common Bond and Prosper, where it's a new way to lend, but this is actually peer-to-peer in a better way. Thanks.
My name is Raz Godelnik. I'm an assistant professor at Parsons School of Design in New York and the co-director of our master's program in strategic design and management. The future of the sharing economy is unknown, but we could envision what the desired future will look like. From my point of view, this future is a future where the sharing economy contributes to a more resilient, sustainable, and equitable society. Let's face it, if the sharing economy is only about creating new business models, it's nice and interesting, but not enough. The sharing economy could and should be about enhancing social capital, recreating the sense of community that was lost in our neighborhoods and cities decades ago, reducing our carbon footprint, and other issues that really matter. How do we get there? We need to see a shift from the current paradigm to a new paradigm, sharing economy 2.0. It will be a shift from a top-down Wall Street culture, narrow focus on user experience and putting shareholders first, to a new paradigm where the culture will be a bottom-up resilient culture. The focus will be broader on relationship and cooperation and will put stakeholders first. It's challenging, but I think it's doable. And I hope to see designers taking part in this shift because they could play a critical role in really making the most out of the sharing economy. Thank you.
Think big. Think that we can improve things not by a fraction, but by a power of significance. NetWave is Internet of Things, connected things, so and so. First thing to realize is that connected objects become shareable. So, for example, manufacturers of locks, they're not putting the effort anymore in locks that shut things, but in locks that allow you to open things. So you can share your bicycle or your car, open your house without being there to provide the keys to the other person. I believe, and you could explore in that direction as well, that we citizens will end by realizing that data belongs to us, and we have to have ways and apps and rules as to how to recuperate our data, how to bring it together, and how to make choices, individual and collective choices, as to in which conditions should other people or other parties or businesses make use of it. So I believe there's a big important shift there. And the last thing I'd like to share with you is this: all this is about a new social contract in which ownership, governance, trust, and incentives are clearly expressed and created in a participative way. So enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Have a great event. Bye.